My A1C was amazing, dropped from 9.5 to 5.9 currently. My weight was 240 pounds at that time. My weight now is stabilized at 166. I kind of vacillate between 164 to 166 in there. My cholesterol dropped from 220 down to 117. I didn't even think that was legal. I didn't think it was possible to go down that low. Originally, I was diagnosed in 2008, so just a little over 10 years ago. And at that time, I didn't take it seriously because I didn't feel sick. And they gave me some medication to take. And they said, as long as you take this, you'll be fine. At some point, they told me that I should lose some weight, eat a little better. But there was no definition of what eating a little better was. So I just continued eating the way I always ate, but I didn't lose any weight. I just continued gaining weight. About 5-6 years ago, I had my hip replaced and then 3 knee surgeries. And after that, the weight really piled on. And as a result, the doctor started increasing my metformin from 500 to 1,000 to 2,000 and from once a day to twice a day. In October of 2018, he prescribed glipizide and told me to start thinking about taking insulin. At that point is when I started taking it serious. I was a little scared, didn't like the idea of taking insulin. So that's when I started doing some research online to see what my alternatives, if any, were. I was introduced to mastering diabetes through following and listening and reading and researching. I learned that people were actually reversing their diabetes, and not only diabetes, but all of their health problems by making a change in their diet. But what's important is that the diet was described, it was defined, it wasn't in specific as you should eat better, like the doctor would tell you. That's when I started taking it serious and started following what I was learning as I was learning. I immediately liked what was happening because now I was getting all my advice from one source. I didn't have to worry that I was going to be off track or experimenting to see if this worked or that worked. It made so much sense. Let's start off with working on your breakfast, and you do a week of that, and then they tell you that, okay, now it's time to introduce, lunch and then dinner. And it's a step-by-step process. They explain to you about initial reactions to some of the foods you eat and how not to worry about it. Don't be concerned. This is natural because there's a transition period, and as you continue the course, your insulin resistance will go down, your insulin sensitivity will go up, and you're going to be able to do things in 3 weeks or a month from now that you're not going to be able to do today. And so I bought into that and decided to follow it without question. I didn't need to know why it worked. I just needed to know that it did work and that I was putting my trust in somebody's hands, and I didn't have to worry about being given unsound advice. And so I started seeing immediate results. Within 30 days, I can't believe what was happening. I was losing weight. My numbers were dropping. Everything they said that was going to happen was, just like I said, it encouraged me to dig in deeper and commit to it wholly. My A1C was amazing, dropped from 9.5 to 5.9 currently, and it's gone down every time I've tested. I'm doing in a couple of weeks for another one. I'm hoping to see even further improvement. My weight was 240 pounds at that time. My weight now is stabilized at 166. I kind of vacillate between 164 to 166 in there. My cholesterol dropped from 220 down to 117. I didn't even think that was legal. I didn't think it was possible to go down that low. My triglycerides were 167. My triglycerides dropped to 95. So those numbers are good. So my current numbers now, it's 7 months into the program. I've actually gone through the course twice. I had to retire when I turned 62 because I just couldn't do the work anymore. I was in pain constantly. I couldn't walk for more than 20 minutes. I couldn't even sit for more than 20 minutes because it just seems like everything would just tighten up. If I flew on an airplane, it took me longer to get flexible again so that I could walk than it took for the flight, that kind of thing. I was looking at a life of, is this how I want to spend my retirement? Everybody dreams of retiring and having an active end life where they can enjoy the fruits of their labor and all this kind of stuff. And it didn't look like that for me. So after losing the 80 pounds and getting off the medications, I've got energy like I just didn't know what to do with it. I went back to work for a couple of days a week for something to do. My outdoor activities have increased. I can pretty much walk around now, working out at the gym, things like that. 6 months ago, I never thought that I would even be thinking of doing those things. I had listened to a lot of people how they hate to cook. Well, for me, that was not that's therapy for me. And to be able to produce a dish that is tasty yet healthy is very rewarding in itself. And I like to share that with others. When I come across a recipe that I think is significant and helpful for people that want to eat whole food plant-based diet, I like to share the dish online, and I've posted a couple of hundred pictures of meals that I've prepared using whole food plant-based way of eating, and the people love it, they enjoy it, and it kind of motivates me to continue. I can't recommend the program enough. I think it's important. I think that bad health comes with a high cost. Letting go of your health. We live in a country where almost all the diseases that we have, the Western civilian diseases, are all diet related. The great news is that many of them can be reversed and or cured by making changes. The Mastering Diabetes program, not only does it reverse type 2 diabetes, pre-diabetes, it makes people with type 1 diabetes, their lives much more manageable. But there's other benefits. That the same diet also reverses heart disease and hypertension and high cholesterol and you name it. The same diet cures all of these things. And so I think that they should view it as an investment in their health. Count the cost. I've heard people say, well, geez, this might be expensive. It's not as expensive as having an operation. It's not as expensive as having heart bypass. In the long run, it's going to save them thousands and thousands of doctor bills, medications, and it's going to save their life.